Renee? Wow, man. Kevin, you're on too? That's awesome. I miss you, Kevin.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah, we missed you last week.
On travel.
We're glad you're back here today. Okay, still letting people in. Let in Mr. Shubham. Como, what's up? Kit, how you doing? Della in the house. Amy.
Morning.
Morning.
Good
Hannah.
morning.
Pumpkin. Every time I call your name, I think of my mama, because that's what she called me. Pumpkin. Because my birthday is like real close to Halloween. I think it's because I had a little tummy too. I'm not, if anybody would have asked me, that's what I would have said. Somebody asked me.
I'm thinking Carter is actually Gretchen. So good morning, Gretchen. Oh, and there's Helen. Hi, Helen.
Hey, Helen. Her audio's still kicking in. She can't hear shit. Oh, now she can hear us, so we got to start talking about it. Hey, Helen. Helen is so awesome. See, we have two Jens too. Jen B and Jen P. And Renee, it's good to have you here. Saw, I see. Okay. I think we're good to go. I'm ready to rock and roll. I am ready to rock and roll. So there's a lot of content to share today. I've been working on it since all week. And today I started super early. And I realized that, yeah, this is like a whole full year worth of information. So with that in mind, I had to, I wouldn't say I readjust. The information is still here, but I had to just accept the fact that, yeah, I won't be able to talk about everything that I wanted to talk about today, but it's cool in terms of how we're going to set it up for next year. And what we're going to talk about today, I am going to, as they used to say in my church when I was growing up, step on some toes today, but mine too. So I'm not just stepping on yours, I'm going to step on mine. And I'm going to explain things in a different way. And hopefully we'll see dual things. So let's find out. Let me turn this on and start sharing my screen. All right, so we got an hour and 30 minutes. And I'm going to try to look at these different segments in terms of 10 minutes. So I can try to keep on track so I can hit everything I want to talk about. Thank you, Shubham, for letting whoever come in, because now I can't see. So thank you for getting it for me. All right, let's rock and roll. So today, spiritual superpowers, how to activate your higher light centers. Now, you may know them as chakras, if you know them at all. But I'm going to call them light centers moving forward. And what I'm going to do is that there are 12 light centers that I want to focus on. And I'm going to introduce the extra ones today. And if you are new to light centers, if you're new to this light energy that's in us, around us, don't worry about it. In the very beginning, I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to ask you a very important question. And that important question is going to center around each and every light center you have. And we're going to do an assessment, boom, 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 of your chakras, your light centers, your energy centers. We're going to do a self-assessment today. So what I'm going to do going into next year is that each month, I am going to focus on a different light center. And there's 12 of them. So look, it just works out. It works out. It's kind of like that old school A-team. What did the leader say? I love it when the plan works out. So we'll do one a month, a different week in the month, and we'll drill down on how to tap into that individual superpower at a deeper level, from having a meditation to the techniques to any ancient wisdom, any correlations. How do we pull all this thing together? So look at today as a day to do a self-assessment and then also learn some new things around these light centers. Cool. So with that, take a look at this. So we have physical disabilities on our planet. We have mental disabilities on our planet, people who are mentally disabled, right? And we have visual, people who can't see are visually disabled. Well, we got another one. Spiritually disabled. We are all spiritually disabled. And that's what I found out the deeper I went into this research. I'm like, oh my goodness, we are so disabled spiritually that we got to work on that. So my goal today is to get all of us to see visually that we are spiritually disabled, and then we're going to do something about it. We're going to fix it, okay? So let me break it down to you this way. Imagine that you have to build a house, and to build a house, you need all these different types of tools. And our toolbox is filled, but we only know we have a hammer in our toolbox. So when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. No screwdriver, no wrench, nothing. And that's how we stumble through life. And some of us are really great at that hammer. But there are so many other superpowers, and I can't think of a better word to describe it, but there's so many other superpowers that we have. So as I go through, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And then I think what I'll do is at the end, we'll pause and see if there's any questions that's still left out as we go through the different ones, okay? So here we go. These are the chakras, right? 7 of them that people normally talk about. These 7. What I want you to think about is that these 7 are like hurdles. You know, like if you're in a race and you're jumping over one hurdle and then you jump over another hurdle, think of these 7 as hurdles. These are the basics. This is kind of like divine source, God, the creator said, look, y'all, you got to get these 7 things right at a minimum in order to be in this class. And the class is called life. You got to get these 7 down pat. So I want you to do a self-assessment, because unless we have all 7 of these checked off on the regular, then there's no way that we can start learning 8 through 12. That's like somebody in kindergarten being forced to take calculus. That ain't gonna work. So as I go through, figure out where you are. And I'm hoping that you have all 7 checked off, but it's all good because, like I said, next year, starting in January, once a month, we're gonna drill down on the 12, starting with the 1. So that first one is going to be in January, for instance. And if you have any of that whatsoever, we're going to knock that sucker out and keep building up. And then at the end of the year, fingers crossed, we will have COVID licked and we can have a in-person session around taking the 8 through 12 to the next level and really increasing our superpower. So let me start off with number 1. So the root chakra is what a lot of people may know this as. But I'm going to give you just an overall thought process on this in case anyone does not know what a chakra is, what the light centers are. Chakras, light centers, are energy centers that connect us to earth and spirit. So simultaneously receiving and sending information. So we're sending information out to the universe is also sending information down to us. They're spinning wheels of light, like doorways of power. So, and they kind of go like this, like through the front and through the back for the most part, okay? And a light center is our life force in motion, basically. So when your light centers are aligned, all of these, man, you can do wonderful things. You're a pretty cool person. You lay back. You got it in control. You like the Dalai Lama 24/7, rocking it with your sunshades on. But when they're out of balance, ooh, my family be like, did you meditate today? You're a little bit grouchy today. I don't think somebody meditated up in here. So let's go through, and I'm going to ask some questions of you. Let's start with the first one. Now, this is just your own self-assessment, so you can be totally honest with yourself, okay? In general, do you feel grounded and balanced? Do you feel grounded and balanced? If you feel like you're all over the place, you're not grounded. If people say, oh man, you're so flighty, you're not grounded. We know people like this that are all over the place, that don't feel safe because maybe within their home, someone is irking you or bothering you, pestering you, or maybe at work, somebody is irking you or bothering you or pestering you. So that number one, the root chakra, do you feel grounded and balanced? Now, there's two ways of looking at this thing. You can look at it as in, how do you feel right now? And then how do you feel in general? So right now, like if you look at me, if I didn't eat breakfast, you'd be like, this guy ain't skinny. So he's eating, but I may be hungry today. I'm not dying, right? You can see this, but I'm hungry right now. I'm not hungry either, by the way. I ordered IHOP. It came. Don't judge me. It was good. So the first one is, do you feel grounded and balanced? The second one is, do you feel inspired and passionate? So here, it's like that pleasure zone, okay? Artists, actors, politicians. This is the reason why we see a lot of them in sexual scandals. Because this pleasure center, they're trying to get stimulated. They're trying to get brand new ideas. And sometimes it's from having relationships with different people. But there's other ways in order for you to be able to have the right flow, the right stimulation to get it balanced. I'm going to show you an example. Look at this. We've seen it. We've seen the Buddha statues and people are going like that. And Yoda people going like that. You're like, what's going on? Oh, this is what's going on. That there's multiple ways to get your light centers in balance. That you can do different hand positions. They call them mudras, based on which one is out of balance, okay? For number three, that's the willpower. Do you feel doubt or hesitation? Are you second guessing yourself? So that's like a low here. And by the way, these chakras, you can have too much or you can have too little. Like somebody with too much willpower, okay, you too cocky, you need to bring that down a notch. You can't fly, sir. As much as you flap your arms, you're not going off the ground. So you can have too much of something or too little. The other one is, do you treat yourself with love and kindness? Right here. The love. Do you treat yourself with love and kindness? Or are you grieving? I had a work colleague, or actually was an employee that I hired, that did me wrong, stabbed me in the back about 3 weeks ago. And I was in grief. My heart chakra, my heart light center, was a little damaged. I needed some love. I needed to replenish it. And any animosity or anger I had to release that, because that too can stifle your light. Then we get into number 5. Now keep in mind, as we go through, I don't want you saying, yeah, that sure is Cheryl. I hope Cheryl's on here listening. I want you to look at yourself. All right. This is your self-assessment, not Cheryl's self-assessment. And then we get to number 6 in terms of insight. All right. Oh, wait, I skipped over the throat one. I love that one. You know, the willpower and the throat one. I love that one the most. But in terms of the throat, do you express yourself freely? Do you express yourself freely? So there's some members on my Willpower Warrior team that they're a little hesitant to talk, a little hesitant to speak up. But we need to work on their throat light center. We need to help them in that area. If you're the type of person who doesn't stand up for yourself, I had 2 people last week. Well, one person last week tell me they were currently still having challenges confronting people. And I was like, what, really? I have to confront people every day, like every hour of every day, Michelle, for real. So I was like, what, for real? And she started to cry on me. And she just wanted to tell me something that she thought I wouldn't like, which I was cool with anyway. I was like, this isn't confronting. This is just talking. I mean, if you're going through that much and you're holding that much in, it becomes a physical manifestation of something else 10 years, 20 years down the road. And we don't want you going out like that. Okay. So do you express yourself freely? Now, I have a knack. You can ask Shubham Nakpore that's on here. I have a knack for telling people the toughest things in a loving way. Like, do you want to tit tat? Yes, you do. I'm the friend. That's right, Amy. I'm the friend that will let you not look stupid or smell bad in front of others. We all need a friend like that. So are you holding things back, or are you having issues telling people stuff, but maybe at the wrong time where it blows up, where you hold it in, and then when you talk to somebody, you go whoosh. This one person told me this past week that when she is set with her husband, she brings out things from like the past year. I was like, the past year? It's like sound like my mom. That's what my mama used to do. Like when she got upset with me, you know, it's back when it was okay to give kids a whipping. You give a kid a whipping now, you're gonna go to jail. Don't do that. Don't take after my mama, all right? But when I was young, and if I did something wrong, my mama would give me a whipping. It was like a whipping for 5 things that I did. I was like, can we spread this out? And then my mama would make me want to go out and get the switch. Go get me a switch. No, get your own switch. I'm not going to get a switch to beat me with. That's just horrible. I protest. What are you going to do, beat me? I'm already going to beat. So as you go through, right, you have the insight too. Your third eye. Do you have strong intuitive skills? Does your intuition tell you things? Or do you find that you're constantly falling into holes like, wow, why didn't I see that? Why didn't I know that? I wish I would have known this. That all taps in. So I'm asking you to figure out, where are you stuck at? In general, have you checked off all these boxes? Because, you know, anybody that knows me know that I got number 3 on lock. I got willpower on lock. But not 24/7. You catch me in the morning, I'm not eating any chocolate chip cookies. But in the evening, C is for cookie, and that is good enough for me. So you may be primarily one way, but that doesn't mean you're that way all the time. And then you may have sporadic moments. What I'm asking you is, in general, do you have this on lock? And then number 7 is all about, do you feel close to God? Do you feel close to the universe? Do you feel close to things other than you? I'm going to tell you what, it wasn't until, I would say 2 years ago, that I got number 7 on lock, because I wasn't feeling that way over animals. But my son loves animals. He likes animals more than he likes people. And we would get into, there was this TV show. I'll keep it real with you. There was this TV show, and there was this dog, and this man, and it was like a rescue dog. And this man paid $30,000 to have this dog flown from like Atlanta to Alaska. And I said to my son, I was like, I would not pay that much money for a dog. I said, it's a dog. You would have thought that I smacked and talked bad about his mama. Okay. He went off of me. What dog's life is just important as I was like, that could be a new bumper sticker. Dog lives matter too, right? But he went off on me. And to be honest, at the time, I don't think that I was touched into number 7. Because if I was touched into number 7, I would be able to see what my son was able to see. I would be able to see that the tree, the leaf, the bug that's flying around in the room, that I'm trying to scoot the bug out. Now, these days, I look like a fool, y'all. I'm trying to scoot this bug out. And damn flies don't want to just cooperate either sometimes. Like sweating like I'm on this treadmill thing over here. I'm trying to save you. But when you tap into number 7, everything, all lives matter, all existence, just because they can't talk to you, down to a rock, you see the world differently. So these are the 7. You got to ask yourself, where are you? Now, I'm going to tell you in general, to put out a stereotype, normally men have the lower light centers on lock, and women normally have the upper ones on lock. So when you look at men, they're trying to fight and they're trying to, okay? Trying to fight a lot and they're trying to have a lot of pleasure, right? You have ladies, when you look up here, if you go to any type of, and I have been to all of them around the world. If you go in any religious building, there's going to be more ladies in there than men. You just are. And the men that are in there are normally like 80 years old. It's like all this lower light center is just gone away. They're one step away from the upper room. So when you look at this, really, it's all about male energy and female energy, not about like the gender itself. But if you have someone that has a lot of male energy, then normally they're like a warrior, protector. And then here you have spirituality. Like I haven't did the math, but I'm just going to guess that if we look, because I can't see everybody that's on here, but if we look, I bet you have more women than we have men. If I'm right. I don't know. So where are you now? And once you get this on lock, then it's time to take a look at the next ones. And now it gets really, really interesting. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at my time. Because I think I said maybe 3 jokes too many. No, I'm not doing too bad. Okay, here we go. All right, these are all 12. These are all 12. Now, we have heard, like if you grew up with Christianity, you may be familiar to, in the Bible, Jesus said something when he was talking to his disciples. This, what I'm doing, I'm summarizing it. This and more you will be able to do. So Jesus was talking about the miracles and the things that he performed. Well, I always I would shake the Bible and go, where's the part where he says how? How would be very helpful. Like that trick on walking on water, that bully's going to kick my ass tomorrow. I could use that at school, JC. I'm just saying. Well, this is how. We're going to take a look and find out how. We heard things like Wayne Dyer. He popularized the saying that we are more than our physical selves, that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. Like, wow. How? WD, how? This is how. This is what the 12 chakras, the 12 light centers, that's what this system is all about. It's the idea that 12 light center system is considered relatively new, because most of the new age people, the ones that bring it out, because you have some people that say, oh, chakras are real. Are they really real? And now there's things coming out, like Michelle and I went to see Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know, was it 2 months ago? now, I think. And they had like scientific proof of these different energy points, which I thought was kind of cool. But when you look at this a little bit deeper, you find that there's some shamans and the Hindu religion and Buddhism that have been tapping into these different energy centers for a long time. But the one thing that I want to point out is that there are two different train of thoughts. So like if you Google 12 chakra system, you may pop up with one that has all 12 in the body. And then there's another that has the 12 going up and outside of the body. They're both right. I know that sounds crazy. They're both right. The one that stays inside the body, we're going to go in depth to that one next year as we're going through the different chakras, because that's more about how you can tap into something called the Merkaba, which is just high level, right? But I don't want to go too high because some of us are still trying to tackle number 3. But for the purpose of what we're going to cover today, we're going to look at these, the kind that goes up and down, okay? The one thing I wanted to point out with this is here, they're calling it the 10th, and I'm going to put the 10th right here. Okay, the 10th for other people is considered 0, the Earth star. All right, so it's basically saying, and I'm going to break this down. All right, it's basically saying that as human beings, oh, I found that thing you wanted me to find the other day too, Michelle. That's the one. You're like, find it. I'm like, I don't see it. It's like right there in front of me the whole time too, and I just saw it like 3 minutes before this started. But if you look at this, right, it's basically saying that we're connected down into Mother Earth, about 3 feet. 3 feet. That's who you are, that you are so big, that you're so beautiful, that we can't squish everything you are into this physical frame. I don't care how many chocolate chip cookies you eat, you still gonna need some more space. So this is what's up. So we're gonna go through these 12, and you see these names over here and other names over there. Don't worry about it. It's not like there's a test at the end. And as we go on, and as I get a little bit more fancy, I'll be able to give you a handout too for you to review it. But feel free to do screenshots as much as you want. This is spiritual stuff. So you know I ain't copywriting nothing. How am I going to sue you over trying to be a better person? Your Honor, Judge Judy, that heifer over there stole my spiritual stuff. Trying to get better. How dare she? So anything you see, you can snap. All right. Okay, cool. So let's hop in now. And what I'm going to do is let's focus on the first one. You got to get grounded. So sometimes in some of the guided meditations that we do, I say start with your heart and then go shoot energy down into the ground. Well, this is the reason behind why I do that. Because if I'm going to take you really far, I want to ground you. So you don't come back and be like, ooh. Plus, it's already bad, right? After we come back from meditation, it's like 5 minutes. It's uncomfortable. Nobody talks. I'm still up there. So I try to ground you so that when you come back, that you can be alert. That's why when you meditate, you shouldn't just pop up and run off and drive a car because you're not all the way there. But 0, technically, is 3 feet underneath you. And that's how you ground when you're going to meditate. You go down, you connect, you can shoot energy down to Earth's core. Okay. So we're going to go past that one. So that's 0. Now we're going to go right above. So we talked about the 7. 7th one is like the crown. It's like the halo. A couple of sessions ago, we talked about how to open up your crown. I hope you all have been doing your exercises to do that. How to open up your crown, how to permanently open it up. Because if you did that, well, now it's time for number 8. And number 8 is no joke, okay? So different people call this different names, but all of the ones that I've seen, they kind of stuck around having the word star in there. Okay. So sometimes it's referred to as soul star or starlight center. Either one. It's the 8th one. Okay. And it's located just beyond the 7th light center. So it's part of the 7 the 12 overall. It's the 8th one. And it's the energy center known for its messages of divine love, spiritual connection, and transcendence. So when free flowing and imbalanced, this light center heightens our embodiment of spiritual wisdom. This is your first superpower, spiritual wisdom. So for instance, have you ever experienced flashes or intuitive nudges about your past lives? Like, man, I think I've been here before. I was in India, in Bhopal, and I was being taken somewhere. I didn't know where I was going, but it all looked familiar. And then when we got there, it was a place for monks, and they had part of the remains of Buddha, which I thought was jacked up. I said part of the remains, like they had his foot, right? They cremated it. I was like, man, like, I don't want you spreading my body all over places when I go. You keep me all together, just in case. But it looked very familiar. So if you ever been someplace and you start to kick in, or if you ever did a past life regression and things started to make sense to you, then you're tapping into this 8th one. That's giving you that spiritual wisdom, that's allowing you to see your past lives. Those people who are able to do past life regressions on you, they're tapping into this in order to be able to tell you what they're telling, provided, they're the real deal and telling you good stuff. So your soul star light center is said to be the seat of your soul, because it's tapping into everything you ever done in the past and anything that you do in the future. So even though it's located above your head, it's considered the seat of your soul. And it gets its nickname because it's your direct connection. Ready for this? To your higher self. Anybody ever heard of the Akashic records? Okay. It's the doorway into that for you, your karmic past, all your past lives. So think of this light center as a storage bank for your soul. Anything you ever were or ever will be is tapped into that. Now that's cool. So imagine 3 lives from now, you're going to acquire some super ability. Well, you can tap into that now if you're able to tap into your 8th one. And anything that you used to do, like I started doing area yoga, and it was like my 2nd class. And I started posting up some pictures on what's up. It looked like I had been doing area yoga for like 50 years. And I hadn't. It's like my 2nd lesson. I'm upside down. I look graceful too. I didn't put the angle where I look fat. I left that picture out. But all the other ones, I was looking hot and I was upside down. But when I did it, it was more like remembering than learning. And I know some of you have had that experience. If you had that experience, put it in the chat where you did something. It may have been the first time or first few times, but you aced it, you nailed it. And people are like, have you done this before? It could be jet skiing. It could be riding a motorcycle. We were in Nepal, and everybody on my team knows I hate motorcycles. My father has a motorcycle. I hate motorcycles because there's only 2 types of motorcycle riders: those who have fallen and those who haven't fallen yet. And I don't want to be in any group, because you can be the best motorcycle rider in the world, but somebody in the car is stupid. So I just don't like them. But we were in Nepal, and we had to get on, they call them a scooty. I don't like that because I think it makes me sound a little wimpy. Let me get on my scooty. So I was on a small motorcycle and it was my first time on it, but boom, I just took off and I was good at it. But it wasn't like they gave me lessons. It was more like I was remembering. So the 8th one, right? That's what this is all about. So generally, this information about your soul isn't readily available for you in your earthly body. So unless you accidentally stumbled upon it or inadvertently opened up your soul star light center, you're not going to get there. So Michelle, remember when Dr. Joe was talking and one of the audio said you're gonna leave yourself and you're gonna come back somebody different? That's what has to happen. So a lot of us, well, at least I know me, I tried for a long time to be better, to be different, but I was always me. So me staying is how am I gonna get better? I've been trying really hard. So sometimes we have to go out, tap into something totally different outside of our body, gather that information, and then bring it back. And that's what the 8 is all about. But if you haven't nailed down the 7, if you haven't nailed down the 6, you haven't nailed down the 5th, the 4th, the 3rd, 2nd, the 1st. Now, sometimes you can accidentally trip up and get into 8. Let's say you're a good 6.5. On a scale of 1 to 7, you're a 6.5. And you come here, we do our group meditation, and the power of the group is something. So when you get with the power of the group, maybe your 6.5 goes bing, and it pops you to 8, and you're seeing all these things and all these wondering, like, oh my goodness, I am just a spiritual guru giant. I didn't know it. I want to start my own church on Tuesday. And then you get out of here and you go to your regular day on Monday, you're like, man, I'm a spiritual idiot. What happened? Well, you were 6.5, and then you got with the group, and that raised up your average, basically. So sometimes we tap in 8. Oh my God, Michelle, you know what I just thought about? You got to come off mute. You got to come off mute. You got to tell them about the time. I'm trying not to tell the whole story. You went into meditation, and you found out, and then you haven't been able to, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I went into a meditation and I thought I was enlightened. I thought, it was the very weirdest thing. I went into a meditation and it's hard to put into words. I feel like I was connected to every single thing ever in existence, like every blade of grass and every tree and every human. And I was like, this is it. I've reached the end. I've made it. And it lasted 9 minutes, and my alarm clock went off. And that was 7 years ago. And I've never been able to get back. In 7 minutes, I learned a lot. And I've tried so hard. I was sitting there, please, let me get back. But yeah, I jumped up there, just like Will said, I jumped up there and I'm like, I'm a spiritual giant. And then I came back to being right here in my shell's body. But I mean, I guess it was so cool because some people never get that experience at all. So I'm not complaining much.
And you kicked it to us too, because I remember, because I think we were at the Monroe Institute, and you were telling us all these cool things you found out in those 9 minutes. I mean, that was a powerful 9 minutes. We were like, wow, yeah. That's awesome. And it's kind of like what we hear with people on drugs. You're trying to chase that high again. Please, just one more hit. Can I get just one more?
As a matter of fact, saying that, the people that are trying to find spiritual awakenings through drugs, I always hear their experiences, the ones that do the drugs that are for opening doorways. And I think I've had every one of those experiences just through meditation. So I always tell them, hey, if you don't want to worry about jacking your system up, you could just maybe meditate a little bit more, because that your body has control of. But that's off the topic. But yeah, I think that we all can, even if your chakras are not quite in alignment. I don't know, maybe in that day, my chakras were perfectly aligned, but I do think you can jump into those higher ones. We just don't maybe know how to stay there for very long because we're humans. So.
Well, I think I'm like you brought up the thing about the drugs too. I mean, people can do it that way. I know of people who do it that way, and they really are good at it too. But like something like, what's it called? Ayahuasca? Am I pronouncing that? Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Thank you, ayahuasca. But you have to doo-doo on yourself. I don't want that kind of spirituality. I don't want that. Mm-mm. That's right, Helen. That's a real thing. That's like a guarantee. Like you sign the paper, be like, I know I'm going to doo-doo on myself. I'm like, wait, that's progress? I stopped that when I was 3. See, even that little one, she don't do that. So this 8th one, right? This 8th one, yeah, when you tap into it, it's just at another level. And there's so many people we know, they walk around on the regular like this. And that could be you too. So let's go on to the next one. And if any of these you guys are curious about, okay, just let me know and we can dive in deeper. So I'm going to read the slide and try to go off what I can add in. So no, I think we already did enough of that. Just before opening up this light center on purpose, you want to make sure you get grounded. If this isn't something that you regular do. Okay. So when we have the exercises, that'll help us. And I already talked about this. You can accidentally get into this. Okay. Okay, yeah, we'll leave it at that. All right, let's look at the 9th one. Okay. The 9th one. This is called Spirit Light Center. And I have some stuff up there for you. So you can read faster than I can talk. So I'm not going to read that to you. But as we move higher into the spiritual light centers, as we go up, imagine each successive realm kind of expanding the encompass of those before it. They're starting to encompass the other ones. So as you go up, like you're at the 8th is covering the 7th, 8th is covering the 6th, 8th is covering the 5th, 4th, 3rd. And then when you go to the 9th, is like an umbrella. Like everything is coming in underneath that too. Okay. Now, when you get here, the color, from a color standpoint, the bluish green is kind of the light that people attribute to this particular one, bluish green. When you look at the 7, it's kind of like the rainbow. But as you go up higher, you get to colors. I don't know if you guys can see this, more like this, iridescent. The colors are reflective of, like, say, a metal or an element, as opposed of, the traditional ones that we have that branch off in the rainbow. So this allows us to recognize and to enter the spirit realms, where spirits, guides, angels, other universal forms can commune. So mediums, psychics, the powerful one, this is how they do what they do. This is like the gateway to tap into that. So my shell crushes in this. So it doesn't have to be, all right, I have to get this to get that. Once you get past the 7, you can go, pew, you can go, pew, you can go all over. The cool part, and what I learned last year, was that being alive now is the first time in human existence, because we're a little slow and they're trying to have us hurry up and get along. This is the first time in human existence that you can have access to perfect all of these. Previously, you come in one lifetime, you just have to work on your heart chakra. You come in another lifetime, you just work on your throat. Now, the spiritual door has been opened for us to advance in all of these. So it's just a matter of how much you want to do, how far you want to go. But this is a huge, huge advantage for those of us living now, as opposed to people who lived 1,000, 2,000 years ago. And I think it has to do with, 2012, coming in Aquarius, the whole thing around there. All right. So color-wise, bluish green. And this is about learning how to utilize your energy from the spirit light center in order to profoundly change your life. So you want to talk about superpowers. You want to be a fantastic medium. You want to be able to no longer fear death or missing anyone. You have a loved one that has gone. you can still communicate with them just like that. If anything, more. So this is the key to that. I can talk about this for just hours on this part. But if this is an area that you guys are interested in, I can come back. I just want to make sure from a time perspective that I get through all of them and fill them in. Well, I guess I can say one more thing. In most people, the spirit light center is located about, say probably like 12 feet above the crown. Okay. So remember, when it comes to these chakras, it can go anywhere from 3 feet underneath to miles up above. And even within the 12, that's not where it stops. It doesn't stop at the 12. I just want to blow your mind. So remember when I said in the beginning that we are spiritually disabled? We are. Just imagine someone walking around with all this good stuff, that they're able to tap into the spiritual wisdom. We just had 9. And then they're able to talk to angels and guardians and spirit guides. You're going to save a lot of money on psychics alone. That's one benefit. So, all right, Beth, I don't need you now. I got it. What you say, Grandma? That could be you. Okay. And it's located between the soul star and the universal light center. I guess my last pitch for this one, because the world would be such a better place if we had more people that could tap into this superpower. Now, just imagine when you hear a little voice inside your head telling you what to do or to stop doing, or to let you know what your child is up to, or call your friend and tell them that they matter. I mean, all these things that you can tap into where people say, you know what, you always show up at just the right time. You know, I was just thinking about this, and now you're calling me and you're talking about that. This happens to me a lot. And it's not like something I pull on. It just happens that way. You just, like some cultures say, you're walking in the spirit. Well, literally, this is the spirit light center. And this is what it means by walking in the spirit. So this is potentially an example of accidentally assessing your spirit light center without actually purposefully doing so. Is that if you're praying, if you're meditating, if you're singing, if you're doing something that has a consistent rhythm that allows you to get out of yourself and be open to letting God, the universe, source, spirit use you. Things like this happens. How do you say it? Serendipity? Is that right? Like when stuff just happens, like coincidences, stuff like that. So when you have what many people perceive as intuitive thoughts, like something told me, it was the spirit that told you. It may actually be your spirit guides reading the karmic energy of your past lives and helping you to avoid a problem in your current life. You have different phobias. I see my mom got one. So I'm going to talk about you for a little bit, Mama. I was talking about you earlier, too. I told them you used to give me whippings. Now they all know. Don't judge her. It was cool back then. But my mama has a fear of bridges. She has never fell off a bridge. That's from a past life. It's not from this one. And certain things are there because we have to work through it. Other things are there, but we don't have to work through anything. It's just residual from the last life. So when you're able to tap into this, you can find out what's what. And when you know what's what, like you have all these people trying their hardest to figure out, why is this happening? When they really should be working through it. It's supposed to be there because of a karmic reason. You have other people that are in some serious pain or uncomfortable. And it's like, I just got to deal with it. Well, no, you don't. That's just residual. It's not like it's tied to any karmic debt. Or when someone comes to me and they say, well, this happens, oh, please, can you pray and manifest that this goes away? No, because all pain isn't bad. Some pain is there for us to grow so that our soul in general. So you have these horrible things that people are like, why did this happen? Such a good person. Why did this happen? Such a good person. It's not until we're able to expand beyond the moment of that day that we're able to truly understand. They say God works in mysterious ways. Again, from the Bible. How? Why? These are the mysterious ways. Unless you're tapped into the spirit. Shubham is on this. He can send me the best messages in the world in Hindi. I'm not going to get motivated because I don't speak Hindi. Main Hindi is TikTok. So if the lesson is a spiritual one, and we have not evolved our chakras, our light centers, to the point where we're on the regular tapping into the ninth life center, yeah, we're just not going to get it. The best insult I ever received was this year. It was a beautiful, wonderful insult. It was this lady who, she's spiritual like us, and she was my second client after I started my own company. And she told me earlier this year, like my family was over at her house for a cookout, and she said, you know what? You are significantly smarter than when I met you 8 years ago. That was the best insult I ever got before in my life. And I was like, oh, should I say thank you or F? I don't know which one. And then I started thinking about it, and she was right. Now, I'm not talking about normal growth, because let's be real. For those of us that are a little older, there is no quantum leap in how much information we get. Even if we jump into the spiritual world, right? Sometimes we go from, we don't know nothing, totally disabled, to whoosh. And we're like, yay, it's going to be like this every year. You're like, I wish I could have a year like I had the first year I came with it. We don't jump that much. I jumped because of the spiritual component. As I started tapping into the chakras, they get beyond just what a 46, a 50-year-old man would know. It started to really jump. And when that jumped, then it was more people that I can help. So if you want to make more money, you got to help more people. It's as simple as that. It's not like it takes rocket science to make more money. I met this guy named Jim Rohn in Dallas. He said, look, Will, nobody gets paid by the hour. You get paid for the worth you bring to the hour. So if you want more money, you got to bring more worth to that hour. Well, how do you bring more worth? You tap in to the center. There's no book you can read that makes you smarter. You just gain knowledge. I was made smarter. That's a big difference. So that I can pull in more knowledge and be able to apply it and discern it and see certain things. You have that friend that just don't have the common sense, is what we call it. Really, it's the spirit. You have tapped into the spirit. They have not. So they keep making that mistake that you think is just common sense. Didn't they know that? No, they didn't. Well, they weren't grounded, so they were flying. Okay, let's get to 10th one. I can't wait till we get here. Number 10 is very fancy. Very, very fancy. Number 10, the Universal Light Center. This is messing around with something called the Merkaba. I don't know if you can see this crystal, the shape of it. That's the Merkaba. You see the same thing that's on the slide. So this one is pearl white, you know, like the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, the fifth chakra. The fifth one is green. This one is white in terms of color. So this is the full integration of both the physical and the spiritual world. Wayne Dyer, we are spiritual beings having a physical existence. How? This is how. It's the full integration of the physical and spiritual worlds. In the Universal Light Center, we enter an aurora of pearl white. So here we understand more fully how the physical and spiritual worlds interact. If you're going to have a meditation, when we do that white light meditation, boom, this is where I'm taking you. This is where I'm taking you. And even when you start to learn and understand these chakras, when it comes to making meditation audios or even identifying, why do I love that particular audio so much? Or when you're trying to get in a space or accomplish something, why one type of meditation will help you better over another. So with this one, here we understand more fully how the physical and spiritual worlds interact. We begin to envision and capture our roles within the universe, because being human is freaking awesome. It is awesome. And it just drives me crazy. Like, we went up to the Monroe Institute and everybody wants to learn how to have an out-of-body experience. I'm like, Earth is the best ticket in town. It's still in a long line to get here. Now you want to get out of the body? It don't make any sense to me. It's like the grass is always greener, ain't it? But this is cool being human, because we're both divine and mortal. That we can take and do things when we go out into the spiritual world, when we tap into this, and then bring it and be able to manifest it in so much quicker. So the Universal Light Center will immediately draw you into all the cosmic mysteries. You want to know how the universe started? You want to know how to use sacred geometry to make things work? You want to know how to do crystal grids and build things and build companies and organizations? These are the things I do when I tap into stuff. You see me. It's not like I'm a rocket science. So anything that I do, you can do too. This is how. So the Universal Light Center is also known as just plain the Light Center too. Okay? And for some people, they consider it to be the 13th Light Center, if you count the one where the aura goes below your feet. But like I said, there's slight differences in how people look at this. But where is it located? It's located between the Spirit Light Center and the Galactic Light Center, which is the next one that we're going to go over. Okay, Galactic, right up there. And it's located more than, for other people, like at the very least, it's going to be 1 foot above your head. At the very, so it's probably going to be more than that. So when you start thinking about it, when you're meditating, trying to envision where it is, this is why I'm laying this out. Because everybody's standing in the same place, just like everybody's heart chakra isn't right here. It could be here, it could be here, it could be moved over a little bit. Okay. Most people cannot see the universal light centers and other higher light centers with the naked eye. Like, I can see auras, but the aura that I'm seeing is the crown. That's the one that I'm seeing on people. Like Amy, I can see her aura, but she also is on a light background. And when we start looking at these deeper dive into the chakras next year, we're going to look at how do you see the auras too. So if somebody wears white, that's going to be easier for you to see their aura. And if somebody's in a light background, it's going to be easier to see. Amy, you're old. So when I look at auras, if there's like a shadow that goes to the right, then that's like your past lives. And yours is pretty long. You're old. Okay, cool. Anything else I want to talk about this? Yeah. So why is it important? It's said that this particular light center is where the divine light first becomes truly in focus and allows us to see all the wonders of the universe with more clarity. So there's going to be certain things that we just don't understand, or we don't see, or we miss. People who, even from a business perspective, have been able, like Tesla. Tesla was tapping into this one. He was able to see certain things and see the world in a different way and pick up on things. And these are the people that have more extraterrestrial type experiences because they just get it. Just imagine if you had to have a conversation today with an ant. How would that conversation go? You would lose interest pretty quick, right? Try to explain the Real Housewives of Atlanta to an ant. You think that ant's going to get that? First of all, what's a TV? So just imagine beings that are more advanced than us that have gone through this, because these beings have the same light centers too and have tapped into it. Ra, yep. This guy thought it was just like 36,000 years BC, the one who made the pyramids, who talks in depth about the Merkaba. Yeah, they're not trying to talk to somebody who's still trying to forgive Sue for taking her man. It's still struggling on that heart chakra. That's the ant. We're the ants. So we're disabled. That was my whole point. My whole point was let you know we're really disabled. And even though we think we top stuff, we can't be spiritual snobs because I ain't worth nothing either. We're all on this blue planet struggling. Stop being bougie. We all got work to do. Okay, so here we go on to the 11th one. Galactic Light Center. We're almost over. We're almost coming in. Hey, yeah, I'm doing pretty good in time. I'm kind of happy. Oh my God, it's 22 comments in there. I just looked at that. I'm not going to look at that no more. All right, the 11th Light Center is located outside of the human body, of course, right? So it is said to be accessible through the hands and feet. Now we're getting funky with this, all right? So even though it's way up high, through your hands and your feet. So Masha, I'm going to give you a good reason so you can tell Bill you got to rub your feet tonight, all right? I got you. I got you. All right. So it's located outside of the body, accessible through the hands and the feet, and it makes up an energy field that connects the human spirit, right? Where is it? Okay. It connects this. This is what Alice Gray put on there, right? It's from Alice Gray. So it connects the human spirit of influence to the supernatural. So we're all one. How? This is how we're all one. That we're not parts, we're not individual. Like if you look at this picture, you may see the color like a circle that's red. Or you can say, no, I just see the picture in general, the whole picture. So we're just parts of a whole. So shamans can use this light center dimension to produce magic and to influence the physical with the supernatural powers. You ever change the weather? I have. Manifested a rainbow right where I wanted it to multiple times. You're tapping into this when you do that. So Jesus walking on water, how you do that? This is how. They need to add in another chapter in the Bible so other 12-year-olds don't go like, this it? Ain't nothing after Revelations. My revelation is this ain't enough. This is how. Okay? So just imagine the next year, when we get to November, boom, this is what we're going to be working on. Because with the power of the group, no matter where you are, we'll be able to elevate you and go, boom, right into that. You want to help people. You want to heal people. You want to change their environment. It starts with this. It's kind of like that movie Matrix, where you're able to move things around. Now, you can bend the laws. You can't break them, but you can bend them. And you can bend them to help humanity, not just helping yourself. Okay. Yeah, and this one's like pinkish orange, by the way, too. So the Galactic Light Center can take us to, all right, I'm going to really go out there with you. It can take you to another world, too. Another world. So people who are doing astral traveling, yeah, they're all about this Galactic Light Center, where they're able to use wormholes. And that's what I want you to think of, these higher chakra light centers. I want you to think of them as wormholes that you can go in and go out of. And that's why meditation, we had one that was called Manifesting More, where we take a ball and we imagine we have a ball in our hand and it starts spinning and it spins so fast and then it becomes like a portal. Well, that's me taking you to this. People who, I'm just going to put it out there. People who are known for, I want to say this in multiple ways, right? People who are known for casting out demons, people who are known for sending away darkness. The way they do it is they don't destroy it. If you are a loving being, you don't destroy it. You either send love to it and transform it, or you make one of these holes and you send them through that hole. In the Bible, they talk about Jesus casting out a demon into pigs, right? Casting out demons everywhere he went. Sometimes it was a physical thing, meaning there was no demon. That person just had seizure. Jesus healed the seizure, like, oh, he killed the demon. But other times, just like there are positive entities, there are other type of entities too. So for those of you that believe, I said it in 3 different ways. And for those of you who rolled your eye, you ain't hurting me. I'm okay. All right, we're gonna keep going. So this is the 11th, the galactic. This is about really going to another place. But you can't go to another place when you're still mad with Susan, who took your man, who won't no good in the first place. She did you a favor. And here we go with the 12th. All right. 12th light center. And this is not the last one. What's the last one I'm going to talk about today? So the 12th light center is located on the outskirts of the 1 to 12 that we talked about. And it allows us to stretch beyond our common sphere of understanding into universal unity with all that is, with all that ever was. So the color is multicolor. It's located above the galactic light center, of course, right? And energetic work, gateway to the cosmos. You're getting big time now. So we met these people who was kind of like that movie Sixth Sense, where their job is to help people who have a transition to get to the right place. There are other people who meditate and they work with higher beings in order to do galactic work because they're just ready for it. And I think it's kind of cool. Just like my son liked animals and I like humans, these people like being able to help beings from other places, other dimensions. They just think that way. Frankly, 3D, 4D, 5D's always been a little confusing to me from a geometric standpoint. But these people, they got it on lock. Its name truly represents the energetic planes that they're able to tap in. So assessing the divine gateway light center opens up the door into the divine world. So our arrival here gives us the spiritual knowledge to guide others along the other light centers, helping somebody who's stuck on the first chakra because they were abused, or helping someone to heal their heart because they were betrayed, or helping someone to trust their inner self because all their life they were bullied and maybe they had a over-aggressive parent that didn't allow them to grow. So they second-guess themselves. The people that are tapping into this also have the ability, remember, it's overarching, to reach down and lift us up to go to another place. There's certain people that when you get around them, you just have more energy. You have more confidence. It's because they're pulling you up. One of our group members suggested, and I have it coming up, I think like 2 weeks from now, that we talk about how we can use our light to lift other people up, and how other people's light can lift us up. These are the things that can be done. When we go back to the 8th, it was 8th or 9th, 8th. When we go back to the 8th light center, when the divine can just flow down and shine on us on spiritual enlightenment. That's what used to happen to Jesus, that he would start praying, meditating, and the disciples would see like all of this like energy and grace just like falling down upon him. When you see on the when I'm trying to think of the name of it, it escapes me. When Jesus saw Moses and I think it was Isaiah, I forget the name of it. It was something. Anyway, they came down. He was connecting into this, the 12th gateway, where you're able to talk to spirits, tap into other worlds, and the disciples were able to look on that. And you look in any religion, from Buddha to just Krishna, that time and again and again and again, these chakras, these light centers are turning out to be the gateway for people to do amazing things. So we're disabled. We just are. Lovingly, I say that. We're just disabled. And meditation, but being able to cling to that meditation in some way. It comes from when you have all your chakras firing. When you become really great at that, then it just produces this energy, this aura. That's when we can start tapping into these higher things on demand. On demand. Now, I'm not saying you got to give up being funny, right? You still be yourself, but you can be able to float around with number 12 when you need it most. And just to show you that there's so much more, there's so much more. Like these are not chakras. These are like planes. Like the 7 are right here in these. And then you have the ones I went over with you today, they come right here. Okay. Then you get into this, and then this, and then this. It just keeps going and going and going. There's so much more. But when we stuck right here, that's why we have so many problems on the planet. So we are going to be light workers. So we're going to add more light to the world. Is that what we're doing? You know, every first Sunday of the month when we're meditating. But just imagine if we have somebody that's up here that's meditating with us. That's a whole lot more light. So if we can learn to be bigger, better, brighter, light workers. Wow. Some amazing things that we can do. So I guess I'll leave with this, and then we can go into check out the chat. And while I check out the chat, Michelle, if you have any thoughts, we can go through that too. So light is energy. Energy flows through the light centers that we just talked about. So it's all about us being able to bring the light. Let's brighten up the world. And let's not think that because we know what the 7 chakras are that we're done. We just begun. So, Michelle, feel free to jump in. I'm going to take a look at the 31 chats to see if there's any questions in there.
Okay, I was getting a lot of information while you were speaking. And so.
Oh, wait a minute. We had a system too, right? So that we don't look rude. And if somebody has a question that they want, can you see that I just raised my hand up? Can you see that, Michelle?
No. I practice. We practice.
That's because it's a black hand over a black man. That ain't gonna work.
I see it. Your hands mixing in with Muhammad Ali back there, and I didn't see it, but I see it now. Yes. Okay, so raise your hand. Okay, excellent.
Maybe this. I just have to keep it
that I can see better. Yeah.
But that's not gonna last long. Okay. So if you see the heart, that means somebody has a question that we have to answer. Other than that, go for it. Do your thing.
Okay. They are saying that they don't want to step on any toes on the system that will that you have built, but they said, but you can handle constructive criticism. So they're gonna make one suggestion to you.
Okay.
They said, because humans have this beautiful yet sort of flawed linear conception, because humans are so engaged in the linear that they believe that they have to crawl before they walk, which is true. However, spiritually, they want us to look at this in a different way. They are suggesting to me that we don't go in linear order, because you will lose people because of how humans think. Humans will think either I have the lower chakras locked down, so I'm not going to tune in until June next year because I have those lower ones locked down. Or they might think, well, I can't progress past June because I'm still working on my lower ones. Humans are going to have this misconception that you have to go in order. And this is not true, because they want you to know that even ascended masters, even Jesus, could have a moment. Of course, when you're as ascended as Jesus, it's a little bit different, but it's a recognition of a human emotion. Of course, when you really have those higher chakras on lock, you're not going to be compelled to act on lower emotions. However, you are still in a human body. You are not going to lock down your root chakra and get up to number 10 and never have a fear again, because you are in this beautiful dance of being a human being. You're going to have experiences with all. So what we're suggesting is that you don't go in order. When you're teaching it, you might teach one the first month or however you choose to do it, and then you go to 10, and then you go to 2, and then you go to 12, and then you go to 3, so that you realize that it is a balance, a non-stop balance, a daily balance, a monthly balance, a lifelong balance. It's a lifelong balance. Now, yes, you cannot master love for all when you are focusing on arguing with Barbara at work, right? That is true. However, if you have a lesson one week about universal love, once Barbara gets in front of you that week, your interaction with her will be quite different. So you don't have to master never being irritated with Barbara again before you move up to universal love. If we're making sense to you, we're saying that here's another problem that we see. We see that you may think that you need to focus on, you may be so excited that you're going to focus on 10, or you're going to focus on 9 so that you can talk to your spirit guides. And then you lose all grounding. You don't pay attention to 1, 2, and 3, and then they get out of whack. It isn't necessarily, it mostly doesn't work this way, that you get one figured out and then you never pay attention to it again. You have to always keep them in balance. So we would suggest that every single day you do a meditation on balancing your chakras. It can be quite fast. You can balance your chakras in a meditation in 10 minutes, really. You just place your awareness on each center each day. Now, that doesn't mean that you have mastered, or that you have, if there's a blockage, that clears the blockage necessarily. It doesn't mean that if that's where your strength is, that, that's your only strength. However, if that awareness of balancing those chakras on a daily basis, this will help you. So we have a lot to say on the subject. We're glad that this is going to be a continuing topic and lesson, because there's so much to be said on each energy center, that we want you to know that it is exactly true that the ascended masters, the people who were in a human body and they figured out how to become divine within their human body, those people mastered the human experience along with the divine experience, the otherworldly experience, the other energies that we aren't used to tapping into. And it was as a human experience. If we wanted to just be tuned into 9, 10, 11, 12, we wouldn't be human beings. Yes. So focus on each one of them, and don't beat yourself up if you feel like, oh, I'm making a lot of progress. I feel like I'm in clear communications with my guides and my angels, and then you discover a deeply rooted fear that you have. Don't beat yourself up thinking that you've lost progression. It is not linear like that. The lower ones do get easier once you have focused some time and energy toward the top ones. But that doesn't mean, just even if you're a master at the top ones, it doesn't mean you won't have any experiences with the lower ones, because you are a human being having a human experience. Are we making sense to you?
Yes. And let me jump in. They are right, definitely, on two things. One, I can definitely take criticism. And number two, what they said is very accurate. That remember when I said the other chakra isn't like a direct up and down. It's here, it's there, to actually progress. Just that as humans, we think of things, in this dimension more linear. Like after second grade comes third grade. So from an initial understanding, I explain it that way, right? Even like when you look at the chakras going up and down, like someone in the chat, because I'm going through and I'm answering in chats for the people on YouTube that are wondering, like, why did I hold this up? It's because in the chat, we were having a conversation. But someone in the chat said, I have the upper chakras, I got that on lock. It's the lower ones that I don't. Well, like my shell was channeling through, but the chakras, oh my goodness, there's so many different ways that you can do it. You can do colors, like the colors I have on right now, red. Like I was doing some serious manifesting and meditating this morning, and I can be getting on here all loopy, right? So I needed to have grounding. But you also have crystals, like the two that I got right here, that are darker in color in nature, and that helps you ground. So when we get into our regular meditation in this group, it'd be good for you to have a dark crystal around you so you can get grounded. So when I say any questions, everybody ain't like, that meditation was awesome, dude. You're able to ground and give back. You have sound you can do too. So the last thing I say on this, and then we'll go back to you, Michelle, and I'm going to go looking at the next comments, is that people normally dress to be cute. Oh yeah, I look good in this. But what if you dress to be effective? Like, I know I have to speak today, so let me wear the color light blue. When my willpower warriors in India tell me, sir, can you send me blessings for this? I tell them wear blue. And then I tap into one of the higher light centers, and I just imagine that energy and information is just flowing down to them, that when they get there. So I put myself in that situation. For Pumpkin, when you were talking about how can I break out the superpowers? Because I think that might have been earlier before we got in. But you have to become what you want. You have to become it. So don't feel like you're loved. Become love. Be love. So when we meditate, then we become the void. We become the darkness. We become the light. We become what we need. And when you have that mindset, like right now, this is like a different mental state than, say, theta brain state when we're deep in meditation. When you have that mindset in theta, woo, now we're talking, now we're working. Michelle mentioned the 3, definitely. That's about manifestation. It's sacred geometry. Got a ton of books over here about that. It's the triangle. It's the mother, the father, the child. It's about birth. It's about creation. When you're going to make a manifesting from a grid, you can use that, right? Use a pyramid. That's what it's all about. Okay. So, yep, that's all I got. So I turn it back over to you, Michelle. I'm sorry, that was an abrupt. That's like I had you going, and then just stop, right? You're like, hey, I was getting into it. Now you're going to put me back on stage again? So now just.
I love it. Were there, I see we only have like 2 minutes left. Were there any questions in the chat that we need to?
It's like 1,000. There's 1,000. Okay, so what I'll do is, why don't we just open it up and see if anyone has any burning questions that you want to ask before we cut this off. Just feel free to unmute yourself. Don't put it back in the chat because you're gonna get lost, because I'm still like on number 4 out of 30. A new message. Somebody just put it right back in the chat. I'll just say thanks. You're welcome, Pumpkin. Your mama raised you good. Here you go. Anybody else? We good? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this chat. And then that way I'll be able to use it, come back. But as you guys see, this is a big topic. And that's why when I was going into it, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I thinking? This is like a year. So imagine that the first week of the month, we have global meditation. And then the second week, we pick one of the chakras and we'll go in depth to it. Like we'll meditate around it. We will look at exercises to bring it out. We'll look at the real world day-to-day things. Like if you are going into work and you know one of your colleagues has it out for you, your root chakra better be grounded. You better be ready for it. So there's certain times that even though you may overall be okay, that you need to heighten that up. And also being able to take an assessment. So if you have fear, if you have anxiety, you have nervousness, you may need to give a speech. You don't need to work on this. You need to work on down here where you have those butterflies. So we'll go through like that and we'll do it every month. And Michelle has a sold out, look at that, has a sold out event in December that me and one of the other group members are going to, where we're going to actually be in person, and we'll build up all year, looking at all these chakras, and then we can have a higher level workshop. And then the next week, Michelle will have a topic she brings out, or she'll be running the show, and I'll be Robin to her Batman, a Batwoman, like Catwoman. No, she was a bad person. She'll be the leader. I have her back. Whatever.
I'll be Wonder Woman.
There you go. I don't think she had nobody though. She had a jet.
Oh.
And
You can be my jet.
Okay. I'm invisible. Like my hand, when I put it up, Muhammad Ali, nobody can see. So that'll probably be the process that we'll go. And then we'll have some higher level teaching. We'll slide in every now and then. Like I ran out of space. I wanted to do pet psychics and have like a pet psychic on in December. You know, for those of you who have animals, and she's really good. She's very talented. I was kind of skeptical. But you know, like the horse whisperer, but this lady had talent. So things like that, it's not part of an overall curriculum, but just kind of cool and interesting, we'll slide into as well. And anybody that has any comments that you want to give me as suggestions, I went back to what we used to do, which is listing out all of the planned courses for the rest of the year. So you can take a look at the meetup and see what we're going to do. And if you have any suggestions, throw them in there and we'll be good to go. I'm taking a suggestion from Saul because we have that power hour with meditation, and some people, a lot, thought that an hour meditation was too long for them because they're taking baby steps. So we're going to start off, last month was 30 minutes. And then as we move forward, it'll be 35, it'll be 45 rather. And then from there, we go to an hour. And then next year, we start off doing 20 and then get up to 30. So the beginning of the year will be more lecture based. We're just trying to have fun. And after we do this for like a year or so, we'll figure it out and we'll take this sucker on a bigger, larger scale. And every day, every week, just keep trying to add the light. So I want to thank everybody for your participation. Our numbers are a little larger today because I realized that I kept putting in the wrong Zoom link. Go here, side. And people are like, I can't get on. It's like a week later, I see it like, ooh, my bad. So now I'm like doing double whammies where I'm putting the link in the post, right? As well as making sure I stay the same. I was copying the event, but I was copying two different events that had two different links. So it's like double dutch. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna get in this week. I crapped out. I'm human. I tell people I know two things. Number one, I believe there is a God. And number two, it ain't me. So I'm gonna make more mistakes, but I love you all. Michelle, you rock. You just brought it again today. I appreciate it. And next week's theme is up there. So just check it out. And I'm only saying that because I don't remember what I put, but I'm trying to look cool. But if you check out I bet you it's good. Whatever it is, I bet you it's good. So come back. I know everybody's coming back from the summer. We got, we get our spirituality on. We're gonna be rocking and rolling. And I appreciate everybody being here. I hope you all have a fantastic week.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.